What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a movie I have been very excited to watch for one reason, and that is because this movie stars June Squibb. I am a huge fan of June Squibb. I think that she is an incredibly talented, charming actress who, even in her 90s, is still delivering really incredible and fun performances. Whenever I see her show up in any project, I just always get excited to see what she's going to bring to the table. One of my favorite roles that she's ever done is in the film Nebraska. She's just such an incredibly talented actress. And when I heard this movie starred her as a grandmother who gets scammed by a telephone scammer that takes $10,000 from her, and that she decides on her own to go out and track them down to get her money back, I was 1000% on board. It just sounded like it was going to be such an entertaining and fun ride, and I'm really excited to tell you about the movie Thelma today. Thelma is directed by Josh Margolin. When a 93-year-old Thelma Post gets duped by a phone scammer pretending to be her grandson, she sets out on a treacherous quest across the city to reclaim what was taken from her. So I was really excited to watch this movie. I had a feeling it was going to be a lot of fun, and it was exactly that. It was a ton of fun. And don't get me wrong, the movie has its fair share of flaws. It has some pacing issues and some story structure issues, but this movie is June Squibb's chance to shine, and she does exactly that in the role she was given for this movie, and I'm really excited to talk to you about it today. So at the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to Thelma, played by June Squibb, and she is very close to her grandson, and we see her spending a lot of time at home alone, and she has lost her husband, I believe, 2 years ago, so she's been living on her own for 2 years, and her grandson is constantly going in and checking on her to make sure that she's okay. You can tell he really loves her a lot, and she also is in constant communication with her daughter and her son-in-law. And one day she's at home and she gets a call on the phone, and the person on the phone sounds exactly like her grandson and says, "Hey, I've been put in jail. I accidentally hit someone with my car. They're not going to let me out unless you pay a bail bond. I'm going to connect you with an attorney right now, and the only way we can do it is if you can get the money mailed in right away. Otherwise, I'm going to be stuck in prison." So they transfer over, and you hear this older gentleman's voice, and he says, "Yes, your grandson's in some trouble, but if you can send $10,000 to this PO box, we'll be able to get him out right away." And of course, being a loving, compassionate grandmother, she is completely worried, and she doesn't really second guess anything. She goes through her house, manages to collect $10,000, goes to the post office, and mails it away. Well, she soon finds out her grandson is not in prison and that she has been scammed. Her family takes her to the police. The police don't do anything about it, and she goes home and decides, "I want to take care of this myself. I feel like I'm aging and that people just see me as kind of useless now, and that they always have to care for me, and I want to show my independence and my ability to kind of stand up on my own." And so she partners up with her friend Ben, played by Richard Roundtree, who is currently at a nursing home, and she goes to borrow his scooter, but the two of them end up setting out together to try to reclaim the money that has been stolen from her. So, as I said, I thought this movie was incredibly entertaining, and everything about it is due to June Squibb's incredible performance. What I love so much about June as an actress, even at this point in her career, is there's something so endearing and wholesome about the performances that she gives, but she also has this incredible sense of humor, and her sense of comedic timing is brilliant. And in this movie, there's moments that she has to get truly dramatic, but there's also some moments where she has the ability to shine with some really great one-liners. And I think that the fact that I think they said when she filmed this movie, she was 90 or 91 when they were filming this movie. She just gives so much to this role, and I'm sure that it's a difficult task to take on, making a movie that's so contemplative about aging and getting older, and what to do with the time left that you have on this planet. And I think that she brings so much to this movie that it's just so exciting to watch. And every time she was on screen, I was completely and totally hooked. I just think that she is fantastic. I also thought Richard Roundtree was great in this movie. He was a great pairing for June Squibb, and the two of them have really fantastic chemistry. A lot of the conversations they have together, it's just really fun to watch them play off one another, and they're both experiencing the later years of their life in a very different way. June Squibb wants this independence, and she's really afraid of what's going to happen if it's stripped away from her, where Richard Roundtree's character has kind of gotten to the point where he realizes, like, I I know I can't do this on my own anymore, and I feel like I'm a burden to other people. And so going to this community with all these people who are experiencing the same thing as me gives me the opportunity to share with others and kind of relate to their experience and make new friends. And so it creates an interesting dialogue surrounding the themes of the movie. Fred Hechinger, who plays Daniel, the grandson, does a really great job in the movie. Clark Gregg and Parker Posey play the parents, and I think they have some nice comedic bits throughout the movie that, you know, they're both really talented actors that have been working in the industry for a really long time, and they fit the roles well enough. I really like the way this movie is shot. Essentially, the director is framing things like her going up the stairs or stepping on a ladder or doing these things as almost like a stunt in a Mission Impossible film, and it's framed that way. The sound design accompanies it like that, so it makes for a really interesting experience where they're taking these day-to-day tasks but elevating them extremely to where a person in their older years would have a harder time with that. And I think that's what makes the movie so engaging, is taking this premise that doesn't necessarily seem really extreme and framing it in the way that feels kind of like a Mission Impossible movie. And it makes it really easy for this brief, like, hour and 36-minute runtime to suck yourself into the film and really enjoy it. My biggest issues with this movie, the story structure and the way it kind of cuts back and forth between characters can make it feel a little uneven in moments, and it also feels a little bit bloated for its hour and 30 minutes. My big issue here is all the scenes with June Squibb and Richard Roundtree are awesome. There's great character building moments, they're funny, they're really well done, but whenever we cut back to the nursing home with scenes with the grandson and the parents, they feel so forced, and like the director was trying to add in some level of character development with all three of them, but it never necessarily feels like it sticks the landing. It's almost just like, okay, we need something else to pad out this time. Obviously, June Squibb, Richard Roundtree being older actors, they can't really take up the whole hour and 30-minute time frame. We have to do something else amidst all that. But I just feel like the writing could have been a little bit better. I just felt like anytime we were cutting back there were some moments that were genuine and heartfelt that I enjoyed, but there were other moments where they were trying to like force a comedic bit that it didn't necessarily land. And anytime those moments occurred, I just felt pulled out just a hair. But as soon as June Squibb was back on screen, I was right back into it again. And it's a movie that, despite those flaws and some of the comedy not working and the pacing being a little off, I think it's a movie that anyone can appreciate. It's just really fun, and I think, you know, I talk about it a lot. The concept of death is like really difficult to wrap your brain around, and it's really hard for us as human beings, even though everyone experiences it. No one is ever ready for it, and no one ever knows how to deal with it. And when it comes to aging and getting to your later years in life, where you have to start realizing, hey, death is a very real possibility, to take a movie that kind of pushes that comedic edge but also is willing to ask questions about that, I was really impressed with it. And I've mentioned it before in some of my other reviews, but my grandmother was one of my favorite people in my life. I loved her so much. She was such a caring, kind, and wonderful person, and watching this movie just really reminded me of her and really brought me back to a lot of great memories when she was alive. And I love movies that can do that. It gives me time to reflect on some really wonderful moments in my life. And this movie just put a big smile on my face. And despite the fact I left and was like, oh, there were some unsatisfying moments and some things that I could clean up here or there, it's an experience that is well worth having. And I'm so glad June Squibb got to make this movie and just seemingly had a blast doing so. So have you seen Thelma? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was so entertaining. Despite its flaws, I had so much fun with it, and I definitely would watch it again. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.